Marty, Nick Riewoldt with us.
Yes.
Here he is.
Yes.
Hello, Nick.
Spring. Finals.
Yeah.
You can smell it.
Geez, it must get you so excited this time of year. It gets everyone excited.
Yeah, and you know what it is? I reckon it's the time of year when all of the clubs that didn't make finals, you get to this week and the weather just changes. It feels warm and you're like, it would have been great to keep going.
Yeah,
Of course.
Would have been
absolutely.
great. You know,
Although
it's
there was
nice
a bit
being-
of sport around in the bye week, which is the worst week of the year for hardcore AFL fans. We played a bit of cricket and I watched a hell of a lot of rugby league last
Did you?
weekend as
Rugby
well.
league.
Rugby league.
AFLW
Tonight,
kicked off as well in the
AFLW, the Mighty Roo girls had a win. The Brisbane Lions taking on the Richmond Football Club at the Gabba this evening. Of course, Dustin Martin is in the news now with a video possibly filmed around 2017 of him groping a topless woman's breast. I know that this is not really your job to come in and talk about this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
Nick, but, I mean, have you...
Well, I
know you didn't know anything
I found
about
out
it.
2 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Walked in, and well, I mean, with these issues, consent's always the issue, right?
That's the key.
So, without actually understanding the context,
Exactly.
it would probably be silly before I actually find out a little bit more about it
Totally.
to comment. But yeah, clearly consent's always the issue in that situation. So.
And I think that's all we can say, really, to be fair.
That's
and then
right.
it's up to the club and Dusty and the woman involved how they want to pursue it.
Well, you asked me the question when I walked in, did Dusty play? And I thought you were talking about his hamstring.
Yeah, that's right.
Because that's, clearly this puts another serious layer over the top of it.
But let's talk about the injury and let's talk about the idea of how fit does a footballer have to be to play finals?
Yeah, I think it's circumstantial, and so that's the case for this one. I mean, now you probably have to consider as well what level of stress is Dusty going to be under with what's just occurred.
Yes.
So you factor that in as well. Does the club step in? Who knows how that's all going to play out? And again, just to back over, admonish the behaviour if consent's the issue there. Just to be clear.
No, you're being totally clear, and we are
Just
all,
to be
we
clear,
are
Marty.
all
Just
in
to be clear.
absolute agreement.
But specific to the hamstring, it's such a tricky one because I think Richmond have been going well enough without him to get over the top of Brisbane in what is a do or die clash tonight. Clearly at the Gabba, they've got the wood over the Lions. They've won 17 of the past 19, which
Have
is an
they?
extraordinary record.
That's unbelievable.
Oh, they've just had the wood on them. They've beaten them up there in finals.
Well, the Gabba, because of the hub, feels like it's no longer some sort of.
Well, they're one out of their last 6 in home finals, Brisbane.
Is that right?
I'll give you a stat from 2019.
Give it to me, Will.
You can use it on the weekend.
Since 2019, the Lions have played 45 games at the Gabba. They've had 37 wins. So of those 8 losses,
Wow.
4 of them are finals
4 of them are finals, right?
in 4 seasons of footy.
Yeah, wow. So, it hasn't been the fortress that they would have liked, and they're just not playing of all the opportunities they've had over the past 3 years with Brisbane. I think we all thought this was going to be their year, but they haven't approached September in worse form in any of the last 4 years.
They
So
were terrible against Melbourne.
they were terrible and sort of manufactured toughness, fake toughness. It looked like last time they played against the Demons. So look, I think Richmond are good enough to get over the top of Brisbane tonight without Dusty. You give him the extra week with the hamstring, and then you load him up because if he relapses now with the hamstring, he's gone for the finals.
Yeah. Debutant playing for Brisbane tonight. That's a fairly frightening prospect to be thrown into that mix.
Yeah, you only have to look across the line when they do the national anthem at Marlon Pickett.
Yeah, we were chatting about that.
So
And
he might if he gets nervous, you line up. Just look at he did it in a grand final.
He did
so
it
I
in a
should-
GF.
qualifying or elimination final. I should be fine.
Will brought up Dermot Brereton in '82 for the Hawks as well.
Yeah?
Made his debut in a final.
He kicked 5.
I don't
reckon
think
he
he
kicked
did.
5.
On debut
Wow.
in a
I
final.
reckon he kicked 5, Derm.
Let me find out.
In fact, I'm pretty sure he did because he tells us.
Yeah, I was
all.
gonna
Oh,
say,
he
Does
tells us
he?
all
He
the
lets you
time.
know. That's nice of him to do that, though.
Yeah.
Oh, he did too.
He
And
kicked 5?
the next week in the prelim, he kicked 0-2.
Yeah, that's all right. He doesn't talk about
No,
that.
no,
Funny
no,
that.
no,
he's
Funny
that's
that.
been an up and down career, I guess you could take from that.
I mean, I remember it was a bit 5 day, 5 night.
5 day, 5 night.
I remember my first final was at the Gabba in 2004, and I felt like it was the moment that my whole life had been building towards. And I got a package during the week of like letters from local kids from a Moorabbin primary school or
that's
something.
nice.
I took them up with me and I read them all and lay them out, and we went out and got belted by 80 points.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, but it's an amazing thing playing your first final. So this is the time of year that we all wait for. Right? It's essentially starting positions on the grid, and then the race starts now.
It's always a pleasure to see you, Nick. You'll have a massive, 3 or 4 weeks?
Yeah, but that being said, we have 9 games a weekend. In a regular weekend, there's 9 games to go over a month. So it's a bit more of the other sort of the peripheral stuff.
Do you do a lot of stuff? Do you do a lot of corporates at this? Does Nick Riewoldt put a suit on and turn up in a room at the G?
Did one yesterday.
I bet you did.
Yeah, it was nice.
This would actually be a big earning time of the year.
Well, we don't talk about that side of it, Marty. It's just good to get out amongst the people and share some stories.
I couldn't agree more.
That's what it's all about.
I've heard some eye-watering numbers over the
years. I've heard some eye-watering numbers. We just think, and he did what when he got there? Just wandered around the room.
Yeah. Mike Brady's one of them.
Is right?
He comes out of retirement in September.
Dusts off the guitar and
playing the grand final again this year.
Of course he is. There's some wonderful games coming up this weekend. Of course, we've discussed Brisbane, Richmond tonight. Tomorrow, 7:50 p.m. Melbourne, Sydney.
Can't wait for this one. Sydney, I mean, they've almost sort of gotten there. It's September by stealth, really, for the Swans, and they end up finishing top 4 with a really young group. So when they arrive before their time, I think we always think, well, they're probably not quite ready to take that next step. But when you look at Baby Bombers, the Hawks in 08, the Bulldogs in 16, there are enough examples of sides that have gotten there, surprised people, and then just hit red hot form and gone all the way. And Sydney's form over the last 6 weeks, they had a few issues with their game that over the last 6 weeks they've been able to correct. So their contest and clearance stuff's been really good, and then the rest of their game stacks up. Melbourne are really, really interesting. So what's stronger, I think, at this time of year? Is it the belief that their best is what we saw last year in a 45-minute burst in the grand final that was the
Petrarca just went mad.
The best we've ever seen for a 45-minute patch? Or is it what we've seen over the last sort of half of the season where they've sort of been a win-loss side? And I mean, the last month has been a lot better. So what is stronger within that group? The belief that their best is absolutely good enough, or that they're not quite at the level that they were last year? But that's going to be an absolute beauty. Just how good to have footy back at the MCG tomorrow night for a final. It's been 2 years.
What about John Longmire's career? I mean, as a player and as a coach, I reckon he sometimes gets under the radar, but John Longmire at Sydney's been as good as anyone ever.
Absolutely goes under the radar. And not just the fact that he's maintained, a side that's been relevant almost every year that he's been there, but
phenomenal.
He had a very, very set style, Sydney, the way they played. Like, they were always really dour, really, really hard to play against, not necessarily great to watch because, really sort of strong contested dour games. Now he's completely flipped it, and they've turned into one of the best ball use teams in the competition. So he's been able to get it done both ways. He's adapted to the players and the sort of talent that he's got on his list and been able to find another way for them to be really, really good. So he's a beauty, big horse.
He is, and I think Sydney, they'll realise how good he is when he's not there anymore.
Yeah.
Geelong, Collingwood, that'll be a belter. Oh, that's before tomorrow night's game.
Yeah,
that's tomorrow at 4:30.
Oh, how good.
This is going to be massive.
I'm just so excited about it.
Is that the one you're most looking forward
to? Just because, I want to, there's stories sort of everywhere on both sides. Like Geelong, we've seen them here before. Like, are they different? Is this the same old home and away Geelong, and then finals? I haven't been quite able to get it done. No, they're different, and I can't wait to see it because they've changed their style. They've blown up their system. And talk about courage for a coach like Chris Scott. So he's coming from a situation where they were really, really, really good. And if it wasn't for some freakish random acts and Dustin Martin tearing them apart in some finals, they probably would have won one over the past 3 years. But despite that, blew up their game style, completely overhauled it, blew up their coaching structure, recruited in a bunch of young guys, so Close and Atkins and Stengel and De Koning and these sort of guys, and had the courage to say, yeah, this is what we know, and we've got great comfort in this, and it's really, really good, but it's not quite good enough. So let's at the risk of maybe dropping right away, we're going to change it for now. So all of the change that Geelong have gone through is for tomorrow or for Saturday, which is awesome. And then Collingwood, we know they're riding the wave of something that we haven't seen in the competition ever.
Great story.
Yeah, which is brilliant. So can the fairy tale continue, or will Geelong just flex and do what we all think they're building towards?
Freo Bulldogs to wrap up the first weekend of finals.
Yeah, so a few big outs for both teams. Nat Fyfe missing now for Fremantle.
Yeah, that's a shame.
That's a shame. Well, love seeing, because he's the sort of player that can just tear it apart. But they've done it most of the year without him being at his absolute best. And Liberatore is a sneaky big out.
Yeah, who's bigger, do you think? For
I think Liberatore for the Bulldogs is bigger, because the midfield for the Dogs basically protects the extremities of the ground. And defensively, they're quite suspect. If they're not winning it inside, well, they'll expose their defence, which I think Fremantle should be able to take advantage of. So he's a massive out.
What are you working on this weekend?
I'm at the G tomorrow night for Melbourne, Sydney, and at the G again on Saturday for Geelong, Collingwood, before heading back to the studio for Best on Ground. Bit of fun, Marty.
Oh, yeah.
That's your favourite show, you keep
I love
telling me.
it.
Yeah.
It is fun.
With our old mate Mark Howard.
Yes.
Yeah, I love Howie. And
Yeah.
I love what you're doing on there. And
Thank
Brownie
you.
as well.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
saw Brownie last
We
weekend.
did.
Yeah.
The lunch you didn't
I
come
saw
to.
that.
Yeah.
Well, so
The
hold
lunch
on.
you
So
didn't
what,
come
one
to.
centre half forward out, another centre half forward in? Is that?
You should have seen William when he
Oh,
sat
God.
down at the table. Oh.
I did see
Yeah.
a photo on
Yeah.
Lauren's Instagram.
Yeah.
Just like
I wasn't
sort of-
blinking.
Nobody else mattered.
Real sort of dreamy eye.
William
Like,
sat
how do
up
I get
straight.
How do I get Will to look at me like that?
Play for the
Flags in
Lions.
Brisbane to do it.
Lovely to see you, mate.